News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Hello there, good evening and a very warm welcome to Newsline Live. Now then, Newsline Live thought we'd take a look at one of Sri Lanka's most enduring industries, and that of course is the hotel, the leisure industry. Much part of our success story, but every time Sri Lanka takes an attack, it's the first to be affected. And we thought we'll talk to one person whose family have been in the business for a very long time, and if you combined all their hotels, it's probably one of the leading privately, now also semi-public group of hotels, and that of course is the Jetwing Group. And we have here the chairman of Jetwing Symphony, that's the PLC part of the business, Hiran Cooray. Very good evening to you, Mr. Cooray. Welcome.
Good evening, Faraz. Nice to be with you again.
Thank you for coming. Now that we've seen that many countries have lifted the travel advisories, and that has been perhaps not highlighted in the local press as much as it ought to be. But what are you all doing now that all that's out of the way?
But that's, as you said, most of the countries. Still one or two of them, important countries, haven't lifted.
Okay.
And it's just, we believe it's a matter of time that they take it out as well. And then we have to go on a massive campaign, image building campaign, because right now a lot of people think overseas that there is no food here, that there is not enough petrol. That's still that same old image that was portrayed 2-3 months ago still is there. So now we need to go and tell the visitors, the travelers, look, Sri Lanka is back in business, right? Everything is not perfect, but we have to tell the truth that there is enough food, that they can travel wherever they want to, either by private car or public train or buses, whatever, all are functioning as normal. So that image building campaign has to go on. I think as I speak, there are plans. Our minister is also traveling to India next week. Similarly, our company went to Marrakesh for the PO, which is one of the luxury travel marts where business to business people communicate there. And so what we heard also is that people like to come, but they are still a little concerned that there may not be enough food and stuff like that.
Or that the helicopter might not have enough fuel and have to land in between?
Yes. So that's, we have to give that confidence.
Right.
It is a matter of time, but I believe that tourism will kick off by
Now, when
Christmas.
you say we need to do this, who needs to do that? The hotels themselves or the
Private
tourism?
and the public, both.
Okay.
It is a combined effort now. Tourism is for everybody, and Sri Lanka Tourism has private sector members also on those boards. We also sit on certain advisory committees to the minister. So it is, we can't blame one the other, but we have to work together. And today, in fact, one of the senior colleagues in the industry, Nilmin Nanakara, launched a campaign saying, "Save the Sri Lanka Smile." That way, we welcome people. I mean, we are of smiling name. We are people of smiling, people. So get people back and get the people smiling again. That's the idea.
And do you think that I know you're from the industry, but let's be upfront, open, and frank. Do you think the Tourism Development Authority, do they know what they're doing? I mean, are they making good utilizing the tourism development levy properly?
I think there's a new team now.
Okay.
With the change of the ministers and so on, there is a new team, independent team. There are plans. I believe they will. I mean, it's a matter that we are also. The two main associations, the Hotels Association and the Inbound Operators, are also on those boards as well. There was a shortage of quality personnel and so on. So that's an issue. But I mean, I would think that they can do a proper job, and they will do a job.
And obviously we've we keep trundling along from one disaster to another. We had once the war finished, and we seem to be coming along nicely,
Yes.
thank you. And then we had the Easter bombings.
yeah.
And then we were emerging from that when Corona hit us. And then, of course, the economic and the foreign exchange crisis and so on. So when you take all these, now the government sort of helped, if you like, with the moratorium. But they say that this moratorium is worth around 500 billion rupees. I find that, I would think that that is a bit on the high side. Or do you think that's about right, 500 billion?
That's about right, because the time that the COVID really hit us, there was about 340 to 350 billion rupees in debt.
Okay.
The hotel, most
whole
of the
industry.
debt is the entire industry, but most of the debt is with the hotel sector, because that's where the money goes in.
Right.
And so that's about right. And then, of course, the added interest, because government gave a moratorium. We did not have to pay the interest, but the interest kept on. They calculated and added on.
Right.
So now it can be close to, my guess is 450 to 500 billion.
So what happens? Are you? Just take your group. Once the tourists, not if, but once it does happen, and it will, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Once that happens, will you, and you're back to high occupancy levels, will you generate the kind of income that can pay that off?
If we get the right number of tourists coming in, definitely we can pay back.
Even on this interest on interest kind of thing.
Well, yes. So ideally, if the banks can give us a small haircut, that's the ideal scenario. But I mean, as we know, banks are also not doing too well.
Yeah.
So therefore they also cannot be just waving off the loan, the money that they have given. They have also lent to us people's money.
But the Sri Lankan government hasn't actually spent any percentage of GDP in terms of direct help to COVID.
There was a working capital loan given at a subsidized rate at 4% or 3.85%, whatever, close to 4%. That was given for 2 months during COVID. So that's there. I mean, that also, unfortunately, that grace period ended, so now those interests are also being calculated.
Yes, but those, now when COVID started, the interest rate might have been around the 10%
8%,
mark.
10%, correct.
Now it's more like 28, 30.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
that's
that.
a killer. That's a killer. We cannot sustain a business paying interest at 28-30%. It's better to put the money back in the bank and get that interest into your account. So we hope that the interest rates will keep coming down once the economy stabilizes. You cannot sustain a business at 28-30% interest.
Is there a trade-off? You say to the government, or the hotel said to the government, look, excuse me, but we have continued employing all these people, and the least you can do is let us off with a haircut.
We've been asking for that. I think most of our members have been asking for that.
What's the new president's team on this? I mean, he's not a left of center socialist.
No, he's been supportive of tourism. I mean, he's one person who has always believed in tourism, and he's helped the tourism industry. But I don't know whether he also has the capability now to influence, because unless some funding comes from outside the country at a concessionary rate, which will then can be given to the banks for them to be, for their blow to be softened, then they in return can give us. But otherwise, I don't think, if not, he will have to print some more money.
Well, that we'll have to leave the printing of money to. There's so many different views on that. But tell me, Hiran, how have you been adjusting? How have you adjusted your operation to in an environment where you can't import as much as you would like to?
Well, we are quite comfortable with this situation, we as a company, because about 8 years ago for us, we took a decision not to serve imported food as much as possible. The reason being food miles. Because of our sustainability initiatives that Jetwing was undertaking, we thought, we must be serving the guests all what Sri Lanka offers, right? So we took this decision then, and we worked with our chefs, we trained them,